Welcome to this week's episode of Spotlight. The boys in gold fought hard here at Geodis Park against FC Cincinnati, but fell short. They take on Charlotte on an away match this Saturday. Let's break it down. How are you doing, guys? Welcome back to this week's episode.
We're good. Been a minute. Jaleel got his ears lowered since the last time I saw him, so we are all looking fresh and clean. The haircut, the fade, it looks good.
Okay.
We kind of both did.
Never heard the phrase?
Yeah, you got your ears lowered. He's got a haircut.
I've never heard. I was like, can you do that? Can you lower your hair?
It's like some of your grandparents would tell you.
Oh yeah, never heard
I
that
major
in
in
my
comments
life.
that grandparents usually tell you.
It was the end of a 3-win streak, unfortunately, for the boys in gold as they took on FC Cincinnati here at Geodis Park. But Will, tell us your initial reactions to that match.
I thought it was a tough game. I thought it was hard fought just for the 90 minutes. And I think in rivalry games like this, and when you play a side like Cincinnati, these games come down to moments. And unfortunately for the boys in gold, Cincinnati had some world-class moments. They didn't score in the run of play, but they were able to scrap together 2 goals. One on a world-class free kick from Evander, the other a late penalty kick from Kevin Dinky, and a harsh moment against Walker Zimmerman. But ultimately, Cincinnati took their chances, Nashville unable to on the night. After generating some really good opportunities, Jaleel, I think both teams would feel good about some of their performances in the run of play, but the ball bounces Cincinnati's way on this night.
Yeah, I mean, the better the team, the stiffer the competition, and the more you have to raise your level. I thought that the team played very well as far as Nashville is concerned. You know, the defense looked resolute throughout most of the match, and I also thought, too, that the movements up front looked very solid. We don't even really need to talk about the midfield at this point in time because it's really started to take form. Again, another solid midfield performance. But again, when you're talking about a team in Cincinnati who has really reinvented themselves over the last 5 years, you have to be tip-top, and it typically does come down to those moments like you alluded to there, Will. And it was literally just the penalties that split the 2 teams.
With it being a hard-fought match, there had to be some changes that were made. What were your takes from the changes?
Well, first of all, you have low-key standing ovations for 2 players on both sides of the line. Schaff comes into the game, and I was low-key sitting in the corner of the stadium incognito and got to just watch and take in all the scenes. As soon as Schaff's number got called to come up while he was warming up, whole place went absolutely nuts. Yeah. So for him coming back from Nations League, a solid performance for Canada's perspective, and then getting into the game here at Geodis Park, eruption. And then, of course, Brian Anunga coming back, playing for Cincinnati, getting some late minutes in the match as well. Another fan favorite that was able to, get a shining moment coming into the game as well. So good vibes all around there.
And it's more competition for places in B.J. Callahan's starting 11 and B.J. Callahan's team. Jacob Schaffelberg is a player who is starting to really work on playing in the pocket. His heels no longer have chalk on him. He's not hugging the touchline as much as he was in the previous system. B.J. Callahan wants those wingers to be comfortable as inverted wingers and allowing fullbacks to overlap and take that space down the left-hand side. We've talked a lot with B.J. Callahan this season about the right-hand side being really, really in tune with one another, having connections with Andy Nahar, with Josh Bauer, who's come in, Ahmed Kassem on the left with Dan Lovitz. But I think this team wants more of that connectiveness on that left-hand side, the same way we've seen Eddie Tanks, Hani Mukhtar, and Alex Wheel begin the season with Andy Nahar on the right-hand side. So big opportunity for Jacob to balance out this team a little bit as he gets healthy and competes with Alex Wheel on that left-hand side.
And as we see the connections strengthen, it's now been a month into the season. We are top 10 in the league with goals scored, top 5 with goals conceded. What have been some of your takeaways from the last month?
I mean, we just talked about changes. For me, it's the depth. The next man up mentality has been huge. And it's not just something that is, painted on the wall in the locker room or something like that, things that are talked about as far as the culture is concerned. You've seen it pay dividends, not only from last week, but as soon as the season started, whether it's a young guns featuring early in the season, or you have a situation where Josh Bauer comes in for Andy Nahar. He's absolutely balling. 2 goals in as many games. These are very difficult feats, especially for a defender. And I'm always talking about Josh Bauer's mentality because I've been in certain situations where similarly in the depth chart, maybe you're the second guy or the third guy, but when you get your chance, you ball out, and that's how you stay not only in the lineup, but in the squad. So for me, I'm continuing to see how that's going to play out. But again, you also have to look at the new transfers coming in. You can't speak highly enough of Eddie Tagseth. You can't speak highly enough of Qassem coming in and making immediate impacts. And now that Brugman is more 90 minutes match fit, very interesting prospects as far as changes and depth are concerned.
Yeah, the competition is great. I mean, Josh Bauer, a 2-game goal streak. He's Nashville's joint leading scorer after 6 games to start this season. And it also helps you on set pieces having an extra center back on the pitch, right? Like a converted center back playing right back, attacking set pieces. We already seen Josh score on one of those, but defensive set pieces, an area where Nashville struggled at times last season. You've got an extra guy that can win balls in the air on your defense. For me, it's the ability of the attack helping the defense. And you talk about BJ Callahan's motto for this team: everyone attacks, everyone defends. Usually you would think maybe in terms of kind of the X's and O's on the chalkboard. You get more numbers forward, you are more susceptible at the back. That hasn't been the case for Nashville. Because they are so high, Eddie Tagseth can recover. Top 5 in MLS in recoveries for a single player this season. It's almost like Nashville's chess pieces are so far up the board, they lose the ball, they're winning it in higher positions, then you go again. And BJ Callahan talks about those as broken plays. Nashville has scored goals off of quote-unquote broken plays time and time again this season, and they haven't been susceptible at the back because of it. That's a good sign of things to come.
And Will, that's also too an aspect of the way in which the boys in gold are playing that the fans identify with.
Absolutely.
So now when you're in Geodis Park, you can hear the angst start to go up when it's either Alex Muil or Qassem or Hani Mukhtar getting close to picking a ball off, because they understand and they identify with that gritty nature from even the frontline players to win the ball back quick and create goal scoring opportunity.
I have to ask, have you guys heard what Eddie Tagseth's new nickname is?
No, I haven't.
You haven't?
Dog.
Have you heard? Apparently this was given by the team. He is the Norwegian nuisance because he just keeps breaking plays. So that's apparently become a thing with the fans.
Well, I asked him it was, I think 2 or 3 games ago, I asked him, what do you watch when you watch film? And he mentioned, well, I want to watch spaces, but I watch every team's best player, because I want to know how to take them out of the game. And I asked him, so are you also looking at how to annoy them? He said, yes. And he gave me this big smile and said, yes, I'm looking for who to wind up, were his exact words, every time I'm on the pitch. And hey, every team needs one of those guys. Eddie is that. And I'll tell you what, I think he's one of the first names in the team sheet right now.
He is the Norwegian nuisance, and we are so thankful to have him. Taking a look ahead at the road match this Saturday, the boys in gold take on Charlotte FC, who they are just coming off of a loss as well. Will, tell us, what urgency do you think that Charlotte's going to be coming to this home match for them? Yeah,
huge. I think anytime Charlotte is at home with the team they have, they expect to get all 3 points. And coming off of a loss 2-0 at Colorado over the weekend, that fan base really views this as a rivalry game. And Charlotte is always packed when they take on Nashville. They see this as one of their original Southern soccer rivals. So I think for Nashville, you're walking into a hornet's nest, first and foremost. For me, the player to watch for Charlotte is Patrick Agyemang, the big, rangy striker, not because of even his goal-scoring output. He only has 1 goal this season. For me, I think he's been a bit unlucky. I think he's been really, really good within the run of play, setting up opportunities for Wilfried Zaha, for Pep Biel, making runs in behind that are attracting defenders that allow those wingers to then cut into the green grass that he's vacated. So for me, Walker Zimmerman against Patrick Agyemang, that is as fun of a center back versus big, tall, rangy, strong striker combination as you're going to get this weekend in MLS.
First of all, I saw what you did there with the Hornets Nest. But when you talk about Charlotte, it's one of those things where you have to be on point. Playing in the Bank, it's one of those stadiums, though, that if they get momentum, you're in trouble. You have to make sure that you're managing the game very well. You're typically talking about your big 15s. So the first 15 of each half, second 15 of each half. If you can weather those storms in the middle of those chunks of time, is typically when the away team at the Bank has time and the ability for the game to lull off, and then they can punch either first or second. So with me, what I'm looking at is how does Nashville start the game? Because if you dig yourself into a hole at the Bank, it's going to be very, very, very difficult for you.
Mm-hmm. I know you kind of answered that, but what's the biggest key for Nashville to take away 3 points from Charlotte?
For me, it's making sure that you prevent any type of open service to Zaha and Patrick Agyemang. That's obvious when you're talking about Charlotte. But anytime you're playing in a stadium that provides kind of that 12th man, Your midfield has to be on point to make sure that they're guarding the back four, and they have to be excellent in making sure that they get the ball up into the front line very quickly and efficiently. If you don't do that, that's how you end up defending wave after wave after wave.
I think it's transition defending. Charlotte is a team that breaks very quickly when they're on the counter. They're a team that doesn't always have to have the majority of the possession. This might be one of the rare instances where Nashville on the road has more than 50% of the ball. Charlotte hits you so quickly on the break. You've got to really defend well in those moments of this game.
All right, well, that's a wrap of today's episode. Thank you both for being here today. Make sure to catch all of the action this Saturday at 1:30 p.m. You can catch it on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV, or you can listen with our friends on 104.5 The Zone.